Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about artificial intelligence and how investors are losing money on it.
Oh, darn.
Oh, no. So for those of you who don't like AI, there is a bright spot. There might be no financial incentive to move forward with it. Now, I don't think that's going to stop companies from using it to replace jobs because it's just cheaper, but they might slow their roll a little bit. And this might be why everybody is in such a mad rush to adopt AI. It's not because they want to hurt your feelings. It's not because they necessarily want to obliterate your job. It's because they're getting equity. They're getting investors to invest in their company based on the promise of AI being this big money-making thing.
So is that why Google destroyed thousands and thousands of websites for their AI because they got investors to give them money?
Yeah. And it's not really working out very well.
Google's listed.
They are, yeah. Yeah. So
They've trashed the internet.
Google has destroyed the internet chasing AI and profits and easy money and yeah. So now a lot of people are talking like we need alternatives to Google because as a search engine, Google no longer works. It's not even accurate.
Well, we saw it before with the Google, with the stuff that they were like looking for things, and then they were telling people to put glue on their pizza and stuff like that because like, oh, that's because they ask things in a weird way. But it's provable that if people keep saying something over and over, the AI takes that as fact.
Yeah,
you know,
and actually, Google,
it's easy to confuse it.
Google has been training its AI on Reddit of all places. Like,
I know, right?
I wouldn't believe it.
Not the place I would train my AI on.
I would not believe a damn thing that Reddit says, but Google has been using Reddit. And basically, whoever will play ball on Reddit is playing ball with Google, and they're getting paid to have their balls played with. So yeah, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how Facebook is kind of going down the same path. You know, this is not to get political, but Facebook, apparently Meta, if you ask it about the attempt on Trump to delete Trump, it says it was a fictional event.
Yeah, they fixed it though, didn't they?
No, some people said they just did the search. I mean, as of this morning, some people said they did the search and it still says it's a fictional event. It didn't actually happen. So yeah, it's not real accurate yet, but we're going to talk about the money side of things, that there soon may not be much of a financial incentive to push AI as hard, which might give some people a reprieve. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
This reminds me of NFTs. Remember when everything was NFT this, NFT that?
I hated them. I thought they were stupid, and I told you that multiple times.
And then they just disappeared. Like,
which is, see, I told you not to spend your money on that crap.
Well, I didn't buy any NFTs.
No, because I wouldn't let you.
It's like,
because I was like, this is stupid. Don't buy them. Don't buy them.
You didn't want like a $10,000 picture of a monkey smoking a joint?
No.
Wearing a ball cap?
No.
With a monkey smoking a joint on the ball cap?
Nope.
Okay. So anyway, this is coming from Futurism, and they're quoting the Washington Post. Investors are suddenly getting very concerned that AI isn't making any money. We sense that Wall Street is growing increasingly skeptical.
Well, isn't that sad? The only way they're going to stop AI from completely replacing everything, even if it's wrong, it's giving out incorrect information, it's costing people jobs, is because Wall Street's losing money.
I know, right? It's like, hey guys, yeah, the apocalypse, yeah, it's canceled.
If nothing else proves that it's all about, money. And this does.
Could you see a Terminator movie where Skynet just like suddenly calls it off? It's like, hey guys, yeah. Hey, yeah. Corporate called. Yeah, there's not enough money in this extinction of the human race. So yeah, just pack it in. Just come on back.
Yep.
We're not going to do this.
Canceled.
An increasing number of Silicon Valley investors and Wall Street analysts are starting to ring the alarm bells over the countless billions of dollars being invested in AI.
Not because people are getting screwed.
No, not because people are getting screwed.
Money invested.
And overconfidence they warn could result in a bubble. And the Washington Post says investment bankers are singing a dramatically different tune than last year, a period marked by tremendous hype surrounding AI. And that's why everybody, like Adobe, basically destroyed their business chasing AI. Like your business was creating tools for creatives to make stuff. And then you're like, you know what? We'll just make this stuff make stuff itself. And then we don't need any creatives. I'm like, well, then what the hell why do you even sell Photoshop?
Right, I know, right?
Why do you even sell it? What is the point?
Exactly.
And they've taken a massive hit to their bottom line because of that. They said they're instead starting to become wary of big tech's ability to actually turn the tech into something profitable. Well, how can they when we have a lot of people that are terrified, ignorant, whatever, against AI, and the AI is just like creating stuff kind of like who's going to use it?
A lot of it looks like shit.
A lot of it looks like shit.
You can tell.
I mean, it's going to be used. Like, don't get me wrong, and I'm not completely against the technology, but there definitely needs to be some checks and balances.
Yeah, that's where I am. I mean, I can see it used as a tool. I don't think it should be a replacement.
They said despite the expensive price tag, the technology is nowhere near where it needs to be in order to actually be useful.
Oh, shit.
What?
You don't say.
Overbuilding things the world doesn't have use for or is not ready for yet typically ends badly. So yeah, all the AI can shit out the most ridiculous artwork, the bunch of fingers on what?
I'm sorry, this next paragraph, because Google has, what they have done and what they have done to websites is absolutely shit. I don't understand how other people can do one thing and then they're caught up in front of, the Congress and stuff to explain what they did, But Google can literally decimate, thousands of jobs, thousands of websites, all this money, and they never get questioned for it. But they're listed on the, go back to the other article, they're listed here.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, Google releases second quarter earnings, failing to impress investors with razor-thin profit margins and surging costs related to training AI models. Again, decimated the internet so they can keep all the money and have AI give answers. And, so everybody's making jokes about it because their answers are crap. And it didn't work. Tell all the people who now, their websites fell or collapsed and a lot of people got laid off or fired.
Yeah, so Google historically, most of their money came from partner sites. It came from news sites. It came from niche blogs, and they would split the revenue just like YouTube. They split the revenue with the publishers. Well, they basically nuked 2/3 of the websites on the internet. So and what they're trying to do is drive users to Google's homepage to get these AI snippets. But I don't think users want the AI snippets because they're not reliable and they're stupid a lot of times. And again, they're training their AI with Reddit, so the answers are dodgy. I've looked up stuff and I'm like, what the hell? That doesn't even make sense. But they're not making any money from these websites anymore. I mean, again, in our case, we've talked about before, we actually do run multiple websites. I am not kidding you. Some of our websites are down 90%. 90% because they're not sending traffic to the websites anymore. But just multiply that times all the hundreds of thousands of websites out there they're monetizing. Google used to get 50% of that ad revenue. Now they do not.
They just literally cut off their nose to spite their face.
Yeah, they blew up the internet.
And then they said that capital expenditures are surging far past what the company had been spending previously, as the Wall Street Journal reports, with this year's total spend expected to surpass $49 billion, or 84% higher than what the company averaged over the last 5 years.
Oh my God.
And again, they used to get money from the advertising, and they're trying to keep all the money for the advertising, but no one wants to use this shit.
You're getting 100% of less money, basically.
And then you're overspending that.
Yeah.
And what has it got you?
There's no way to rebuild it either. That's the thing, because there's so many of these companies are just shutting down. They're selling off their blogs. They're laying off journalists. You're not going to be able to rebuild the internet. You tossed a hand grenade into the entire internet ecosystem, which worked, and it worked for Google for years, decades. It worked just fine, and they blew it all up to chase short-term profits.
They bring that up down here in a minute, but they said about the CEOs holding to his guns, arguing the risk of underinvesting is dramatically greater than the risk of overinvesting. Dude, you done fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then they go down here about the significant downsides to investing, and all that. But then they say here that about having a lot of cash to burn, but seeing any returns on that $49 billion would likely prove far more difficult, with the AI market clogged with products that still are mostly free. The tech costs a lot to run, but isn't bringing in much cash. Google is facing similar challenges to Microsoft and Meta, which are committing vast swaths of their available resources to AI without a clear monetization plan.
That's just it. every freaking app now, they're adding AI to it, AI chat. Oh, hey, your banking app, it can generate AI pictures for you too.
What?
Who the hell cares? Would you like an AI generated custom check? Sure. Would you like, I mean, you think you're talking to customer service in the chat? You are not. You're talking to a chat bot, literally a chat bot.
Yeah, I hate that. Like, I try to use a bot and get help, and it's like, yeah, you're talking to a robot.
And everything is broken now. Can I reiterate this? Because I've talked about it before. We just ran into this bullshit today with the internet company. And ever since the pandemic, nothing works right. I think part of it is because we shut everything down and it's hard to get things going again. But I think another part of it is they're over-reliant on AI and technology now to try to cut costs, that stuff's just not getting done right. It's just not working right. And it's like, yeah, it's not ready for prime time. It's a good idea on paper, I guess, if you had checks and balances and it actually worked right. But they're like, yeah, it's nowhere near. And the thing is, if it is this expensive to run, eventually they're going to have to start charging you through the nose to use AI. So people are going to become so dependent. Companies are going to become so dependent on AI, and then they're going to have the other shoe drop. Be like, oh yeah, okay, now it's going to cost you like $1 million a month.
That's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, $1 million a month.
For quite some time now, experts have voiced concerns of the growing AI bubble comparing it to the dot-com crisis of the late 1990s.
Yep. Yeah.
And Wall Street is becoming increasingly skeptical.
Yeah, they're basically like, yeah, this is not gonna. And it was before that it was NFTs, and people can argue the ethics of it or whatever. Ethics aside, like if it's not actually making money and it's costing more to run it, then what's the freaking point?
Jesus, Sequoia Capital partner guy said that the entire tech industry would have to generate $600 billion a year to remain viable.
Oh my God.
The speculative frenzies are part of technology, and so they are not something to be afraid of. But AI tech is anything but get rich quick.
Yeah, it's the same with the NFTs, and they're worthless now. Most of them are worthless. It said the road ahead is going to be a long one. They'll have ups and downs. It'll be worthwhile eventually.
You're not going to make $600 billion in the tech sector when you don't have anybody spending money because there's no jobs because you just replaced everybody with AI. Like they do this, and then they don't understand that by doing that, all you're doing is just cutting your customer base too. Like, you can't just keep cutting, you're cutting everybody and replacing them, because if no one has jobs and no one has money, then they can't, buy your product.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so you've got AI chatbots like ChatGPT, and they're like, oh, ChatGPT replaced journalists, replaced writers on blogs.
It didn't, not well.
Well, even if that were the case, Google is making sure nobody goes to the websites. So it doesn't matter anyway.
True.
So you pay for ChatGPT to write articles on your website to help you write, but they're not sending any traffic to your website. It doesn't matter.
They were like punishing you for doing it.
Yeah. Adobe, congratulations, guys. Your whole business for decades was creating tools for creatives to use. And now you're just like, oh yeah, well, the shit just writes itself.
To the right of this, under the pissed humans category, company abandons plans to give AI workers rights and add them to org chart after outcry from human employees.
Oh my God. Why are we in this timeline? What happened? I am convinced there was like a vergence during the pandemic, right? And there was a fork in the road. We had left and right, and we wound up going like down the dark path. And this is not actual reality. This is the worst case scenario. Somehow we wound up in the worst timeline.
Mm-hmm. I get that reference.
Yeah, but so how much time does the tech industry have to stop bleeding cash? It said OpenAI is going to lose $5 billion this year and run out of cash in the next 12 months, barring further cash injections. So this is how so much of stuff, even blogs, a lot of these blogs and tech companies and NFT companies, all this, how they stayed in business. They weren't actually viable businesses. They basically just had a bunch of investors pump a bunch of money into them.
The next part explains everything. And early warnings had that smaller companies already struggling to compete with big tech may be snuffed out before too long. They were going to use it to snuff everybody else out, all the websites, all the little guys, all the, it's like Walmart comes in and destroys mom and pop shops in town and stuffs everything out except for them. And then they take everything. And it's like, it's in their best interest and to just keep doing it, just to run everybody else out. Is it right? No. And if it was any other thing, you'd see them, they'd be called up, you know, and they'd be like, yeah, well, you better explain yourself. But for some reason, Google doesn't get called out.
Facebook, well, they had Zuckerberg.
Yeah, they've done that multiple times. They aren't calling Google in to explain why they're doing what they're doing.
You broke the internet, Google. I mean, you basically broke the internet, but it's our fault for giving them too much power. I mean, I think we needed to make sure we had other alternatives, because they're talking about, like, apparently you can go back to 1998 Google, which would be pretty awesome, right? Because that's how it started. Google was one of many search engines.
Yes, I remember.
There were several.
I was there.
And yeah, this is how you eliminate the competition. And I think we're going to have competition, but it's really hard when, like, so much of the internet is powered by Google and Amazon servers.
Somebody get a time machine.
Yeah, somebody get a time machine.
Go back to 1998.
And yeah.
Buy a bunch of Google stock. Anyway.
Yeah, buy a bunch of stock and then be like, yes, I'm from the future. And I've seen the future, and I want the good ending this time. I want the good timeline. So we're going to change a few things, you know? And, God. Okay, are we going to wrap this one up?
Yes.
There we go, guys. So you might not have as much to fear from AI, if there's anything left. It's just like, it feels like a lot of unnecessary destruction at this point, because we're going to wind up with this stuff not working as well as people thought it was going to work, but everything's going to be toast in the interim. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.